Four hoes, they bout to wreck shit like Marco. Addicted to the Giants like it's Netflix and Narcos. The CEO making big moves as per usual. Captain Negative calling everybody delusional. This podcast is number one. Like when you take a piss, so share the link and pass it. Like Big Jamaican spliffs and Mr. Make-A-Wish. The sophisticated click. I spit offensive lines, now Tim can take a sip of some beer. Because he likes the taste of it, right? Don't forget the New York Giants beat the Patriots twice. The sickest dudes, eating chips and salsa like it's Victor Cruz. Win or lose, always gonna root for Big Blue. It's true. This a classic show. Tyree, catch it, bro. Play a drinking game while you listen and call it Plaxico. Take a couple shots. If it's funny, you can rewind. To bleed blue means it's in their jeans like Levi's. Eli, man in the ship, just like a sailor. Captain, we attacking bum rush like Lawrence Taylor. Podcast on point, the sharpest arrows. BBG stay gritty like Mark Bavaro.
Agree. Things like that will probably change. They'll probably keep a spy on him. They won't leave a guy. They'll leave a guy in the middle of the field where he isn't able to just, freelance into the end zone. But I mean, he was making tight window throws. It wasn't like he was doing anything that you could call fluky. It wasn't like there was guys running free or anything like that. There was a couple. I mean, the Ingram pass, obviously that was a good read, but Ingram took that to the house. I think he did a very good job at going through his progressions, finding the open man, and making the right throws to the right guys. He had one play that should have been an interception where the safety came in and he didn't even see him, so he got lucky there. But overall, I mean, he did a lot of good things the right way, and I think the things that he didn't do well, like Shermer said in the presser afterwards, they're adjustable. There's drills for them. So, I never expected him to come out and do what he did yesterday, so that's just a plus on top of what we can see for the rest of the year. And the fact that they pulled the plug on Eli is a benefit to the organization to show that they're trying to do the right thing. So it's all encouraging stuff this week, and that's what I'm left with at least.
All right. The only bad thing I have is that guy taps the ball a lot. I don't know why he can't just hold on to it until he throws it.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to do that a little bit, but Eli's done that as well. I mean, he had a couple times where he got the ball and he got it right out too. So I feel like that's something that'll just come with time. I mean, I noticed it at Duke too when I watched his tape. So I don't know if that's just a nervous thing or that's what he's doing while he's going through his reads, whatever it may be. But I feel like Shermer making Case Keenum play like an all-pro, he can get Daniel Jones where he needs to be.
All right, all the audio is up and running now correctly. Now I could calm down. I hate when it goes all buggy on me and shit. Gentlemen, we got to win. Daniel Jones looked like he set the whole franchise on fire, and that's what we've been screaming about for how many years? 3-4 years, that it all starts with the quarterback, no matter what happens before that, no matter what picks before that.
I wanna read you this quote here because I thought it was really kind of funny. That motherfucker cussed one time, Russell Shepard said. I ain't never heard him scream. He started screaming and cussing. He was like, let's fucking score. And I was like, wow, this is our quarterback.
Oh, man. Excuse me. I'm going to the bathroom, fellas. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm pitching a tent over here. Love it.
One series of cursing lights everyone on fire. That's hysterical.
Well, it just shows he's a leader, right? I mean, he came out there and he had a fire. I think that was what was cool to see, because I remember the very first play that he took a snap, I thought to myself, like, this is when we're going to see if this guy's calm demeanor translates into the NFL like Eli's does. You know, you see Eli, his whole career, people made fun of him. He looks like he's on the sideline. He doesn't know what's going on. He comes out there and he leads a fourth quarter comeback. And I was encouraged to see this kid. Like, he's got fire. You know what I mean? He's not out there just, going through his reads, making passes. He's competitive, and it encouraged the hell out of me, because I was very critical at the draft. And then afterwards I said, let's see what happens. And I've slowly been turned into a believer, and man, he looked the part.
So I got a whole bunch of questions. I sent them in the chat. A lot of them were just mainly statements talking about Daniel Jones, but there are
Daniel fucking Jones was like 4 of them.
Yeah. But there are a few good ones. Let's see. Magical.
I like the comparison one, Marco. What about that?
I don't know who to. I mean, it's one game. All right, let's start there. Daniel
I
Jones.
found a good one actually. I went digging.
What?
I want to say a more accurate Jeff Garcia.
Jeff Garcia. No, Jeff Garcia was small though.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
Dude still moved around, right? Threw the ball.
Yeah.
How about Carson Palmer?
No. Oh God, no. Oh no, Carson.
You guys
Palmer.
don't remember these guys when they were young?
I'll tell you, when I was watching him play, guys, I mean, call me crazy, and some people don't like him, so I may get chastised for this one. He kind of reminds me of Wentz. Like, that MVP season, when you watch Wentz play, like, he was mobile, he was moving around, he was making his reads. Like, he's looked okay this year. He hasn't looked the same, but it's kind of how he looks to me. And he's tall. He stands tall in the pocket, and he makes those throws, and he takes those hits, and I don't know. That was when I was watching, the thought I had. I was like, man, he kind of looks like Wentz out there, and it's exciting to me because I think Wentz is a good quarterback, regardless of what people say about him.
All right. One of the questions was Daniel Jones, Rookie of the Year ?
I'll tell you this: if he gets Rookie of the Year and Gettleman drafts 2 Rookie of the Years in a row, I think a lot of people will be eating their words.
I mean,
Well, you know what?
that's the way too early take right there. Way too early take.
I love how everybody thinks that it validates the Barkley pick now because of Jones.
Here we go. We're going back to fucking Barkley.
No,
You know what I will say?
Whoever just brought up 2 Rookie of the Years in a row, I mean, you just tried to validate the Barkley pick now because he was a Rookie of the Year.
There's no validation. It's simple. If we win with Barkley, the pick was worth it. If we lose with
They won
Barkley, the pick was
yesterday
bad.
without Barkley. They won yesterday without
I'm talking about
Barkley,
the
which shows
season,
you
buddy.
that
I'm
you don't
talking
need a
about going
running
to a
back when you have a
championship. I'm
quarterback.
talking about winning long term.
Yesterday showed us a couple of things if you were paying attention. One, it showed that when your line plays poor, if you have the right quarterback, you can go ahead and win a football game. It also showed you that you don't need a running back to win a football game.
It's one game. So we're going to say that
No,
an
it's
individual.
not one game. It's happening
It is one
all
game.
over the
Was it
league.
one
You
game?
just
How many games
saw
did we
it
play yesterday? How many games did we play yesterday? How many games did we play?
You saw it yesterday.
How many games did we play? Answer the question.
How many games have we played with Eli where the same thing
How many games did we play yesterday?
You just replaced Eli and you lost Barkley, and look at the difference when you have a quarterback.
Exactly. But the point of the matter is, it's one
all over
game.
the league, dude. It's happening all over the league. You just saw it in a Giants uniform for the first time yesterday. If you watch I watch every game, all of them. I got every fucking game. All of them are on record, baby. I watch all of them. Okay,
James,
it's happening all over the league. Look what happened in Carolina yesterday. You think those receivers are different players than they were the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, and what did Christian McCaffrey do? When you have a good player on a good team and you have a quarterback.
Kyle Allen, did you think the difference in that game was Christian McCaffrey?
How many yards did he have? What are you doing in that game? What are you doing in that game?
Christian McCaffrey in week 1?
Can you answer the question? Are you going to just ramble? No,
exactly.
Answer the question. How many games did we play yesterday?
One game.
Exactly. It was one game without Barkley.
Did you see the difference?
The difference in the fact that a quarterback played well. Yes, that has been made. That point has been made.
But
you're saying that we don't need Barkley, right?
No, I'm not saying that you don't need Barkley.
You are, because you said the pick is relevant.
What I'm saying is he's the wrong pick at 2, like any running back is.
If they win with him, the pick is validated. If they lose with him, it's
not. Wrong.
Yes.
Zero.
No, it's not wrong. It's your opinion.
Because it's
your
running
opinion.
back.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's more than a running back. He receives. He plays around everywhere.
Bradley Chubb is more valuable to this Giant team right now than Saquon Barkley would be. And it was proof yesterday.
It wasn't
when
proved
you have
yesterday.
Your quarterback, he can make up for not having a running back, and he can make up for your line playing
against
bad.
one
when
defense.
You have a quarterback.
You're saying that a
still missing
team.
a pass rusher.
Wait. So you're saying that he's going to be able to.
Defense.
No. You're telling me that he can do that against any defense. Then you need to have players around him.
You have a
they had no running game. They had no running game. They had no running game.
When you have a quarterback, you have a better chance. The team needs to get better. The defense needs to get better. We knew that. The team's not complete. But you saw the difference a quarterback can make yesterday.
I'm not saying the quarterback wasn't great.
You're making.
So what are you saying? What are you saying?
You're
I'm making a
overlooking one
point.
crucial thing.
What are we overlooking?
Once Saquon left the game with his injury, Daniel Jones got blitzed to shit and got hit repeatedly. And now and granted, he got back up. but let's be very clear. Having a quarterback getting all out blitzed all the time because there is no run game is a recipe for having your quarterback injured.
They had no run game because they were down 18 points at halftime, and the running game.
No, they had no run game because Wayne Gallman sucks.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Let's be real about this. You didn't like
Wayne Gallman.
Wait. You didn't like the pick at 2. Totally respect it. I get it. Totally fair. I've said if they can't win and they can't go to a championship in the next 2 years with Barkley, it was a bad pick. I agree. If they win with Barkley and Barkley sets the franchise on fire and he's utilized appropriately and Shermer gets his head out of his ass, it was the right pick. That's all I'm saying.
It wasn't the right pick, guys.
To you, it wasn't.
The right
to you,
pick.
it wasn't. There's anomalies in everything we do in life. There's analytics that say one thing, but then they do another.
That we're playing with a salary cap, it wasn't.
To you.
To anyone who understands the game as it is right now, it wasn't.
If he builds a winner,
running back,
you can say whatever you want to say.
And when it comes to win, just shut up and listen for a second.
You shut up and listen. You want to talk over everybody.
Takes to win football games. When you look at the analytics of what it takes to win football,
analytics. You win, you win. You lose, you lose.
If you listen for a second, you may learn something.
Maybe you listen
a running
for a
back
second
is
and learn
not
something.
a
You're not the only
position
one
that
that
is
talks.
valuable to winning football games. It's not.
To you.
Okay, so when you have a bad roster
and
you decide to take, just shut up and listen for a second.
You listen.
When you have a bad roster and you take a running back at 2, instead of trading that pick back and maximizing the value to be able to, I don't know, get 3 or 4 players at different positions.
You are beating the same. You are beating the same dead horse.
Shit from last year, bro.
It's the same. It's the same.
Then go be a GM. Then go be a fucking GM. Why aren't you a GM?
You saw it. So how can you sit here and validate the pick at 2?
There's nothing to say about it at this point. You're beating a dead horse.
You were the ones that brought up the Rookie of the Year shit like it means
It
something.
was a fucking joke, and you make it into this big analysis.
2,000 yards of offense equals 5 wins. You guys want to hear after...
Because they had no fucking quarterback. Are you blind? Like, you try to make a point out of nothing. You don't like Barkley's the pick.
Dude,
get over it.
Listen,
I'm pretty sure that I've been sitting here screaming for 2 years that the quarterback's been the issue while you guys have been crying
They
for
got
a
a
while.
QB.
Captain
Okay, you guys have been crying about the line
Captain
and everything else and receivers and all this stuff. When it came down to it's been 2 years, dude. Welcome to the party, pal.
Captain
All right,
let's.
What fucking party are you talking about? You like to bitch about everything.
I've been real and I've been right. The only thing that I've been wrong about so far is Daniel Jones. I'm batting 750,
that's a big fucking thing to be wrong about, buddy.
I'm batting 750,
That's a
kid.
big fucking
The
thing to be
line
wrong
doesn't
about.
mean anything.
You ladies
The running back was the
fucking
bad
crack
pick, and the fucking owners are running the asylum. So
Well, maybe you should be a
you're
GM.
still in the same shitstorm, kid. Let's hope the quarterback is right.
Hold on.
Captain
Let
Negative. If we get a high draft pick this year and we get Chase Young from Ohio State, who is a good edge rusher, the best edge rusher that's going to be in this draft. If we get him,
what they did it too. What happened?
Here we fucking
go.
Is that all you're going to talk about all
Hold
day?
on, James. You're talking yourself into circles. Let's go.
No, I'm really not, dude. It's really not at all.
All you talk about is the 2 pick. Move on.
Because it was awful.
Negative.
Yesterday showed you how awful it was.
No one cares about the 2 pick, bro. Move on to something relevant.
But recovering.
You could have a pass rusher. Would that be relevant?
But recovering from a number 2 pick that's a running back rather than the quarterback is a lot easier.
No, it's not, Marco.
Yes,
not.
it is.
You're wrong.
Because you don't have.
100% wrong when it comes to salary cap.
You, but your
running back right now is being paid $8 million.
Thank you for that.
Your quarterback is being paid $8 million. How much value is that on your cap?
And no one else on the team is being paid.
But
we're going to be severe. We're going to be
Marco $8 million, dude.
Here we go.
Here we go again. But you're
just think.
Can we move on to something else? No one fucking cares about the number 2 pick last.
Saquon's out 8 weeks.
There we go.
Just got the Bleacher Report.
And you're paying him $8 million versus your cap.
Yeah, because we all know people get fucking hurt in football. So let's talk about it. Good.
All right.
Negative. Listen to me. Negative.
Wait, I'm switching the topic.
Here's the fact that we can all agree on, right? This is definitely going to stunt the growth of our quarterback for the next 8 weeks.
Him not being there?
And I don't think it's going to be 8 weeks. I think it's going to be more 4 or 5 weeks. I think he'll be back.
And the medical degree now, too.
It's a high ankle sprain, dude.
Bleacher Report's pretty accurate, so I just said what they said.
Well, no, Schefter reported 4 to 8, so
Yeah, I
be
mean,
fair.
usually high ankle sprains usually 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, let's hope that
All right.
it's more 4 to 6 weeks.
So what do you guys think the trade value of Janoris Jenkins is, especially after yesterday?
Low, the lowest that it's
Fucking
been in
nothing.
forever.
He just it just got plunged into like the Marianas Trench after that performance. Holy shit, that was awful. Dude,
It wasn't
got
good to begin
fucking-
with.
If he could get a 6 or a 7, that would be about
Dude got fucking eaten by like
2 years
Mike
ago, you
Evans.
could have got a 3.
Would you rather just cut him and
No,
No.
get a pick.
You
Get
gotta
something.
get a pick for him.
Get
You think-
Corrado.
Yeah.
Get Corrado.
you think there is a pick out there that you could get?
A
A
contender
late
that can
round pick,
utilize him?
probably
Why
a
not?
fourth. I'd say a 4th or a 5th right now. You're lucky if you get a 4th. Maybe there's a bidding
Listen,
war from a fucking
let's look
person
at
who thinks
next season
couple of
and what
contenders
we've got as a
and
possibility.
would help him.
Would
Love a
you?
fifth. Oh, that'd be a steal.
Let's look at
Who-
next season.
who else would you-
and
who else
how
would you be
things
trading?
could go down.
Ogletree and him need to go. The defense looked better without Ogletree on the field.
Well, he ain't going nowhere with that hammy yet.
Mm-hmm.
Let him recover and sell him. Sell him before the deadline.
I don't know.
Send-
And then what do you
off
think you're getting for him?
Or a little bit of a late round pick.
Send
Another
off
late round
Jenkins,
pick.
send
Maybe
off
people aren't
Ogletree,
gonna.
and you'll free up even more cap space. You're looking at potentially close to $100 million in cap space. You've got Daniel Jones, a solid offensive line that's locked up. Let's see here.
You can use help at the tackles.
You've got
They
Saquon
can use help
Barkley,
at- they
who
can use a
should be
lot of
back
help
from
at the
injury
tackle
at that
spot.
A
point.
lot of help at tackle. I agree.
They can use a lot of help at the tackle spot. They are not
Remmers
set on the
fucking
offensive
sucks.
line.
Soldier. Yeah, I agree.
Solder
James.
is
Oh,
so overpaid, and he is bad. He is not a good tackle, so they are not set on the line. This team, yesterday changes nothing. The team still needs a lot of pieces. They're not a complete. This is still a work in progress. Nothing's changed. We just hope we got the quarterback now, because that changes everything. But
That's all
nothing's
it is.
changed.
So
It's a developmental year.
Let's say we get Chase Young in the draft. That's going.
That's wishful thinking. I don't think we're going to be a
I mean,
2-win team.
Pray. Right now, they won their first game. I mean, if they win, if they can win a couple of games this year, you're not in a position to get Chase.
Exactly.
We
No,
were
I
a
thi- I
2-win
think-
team
I
with
think
number
you get
10
them
taking
four
snaps.
because
We're not
I
a
mean,
2-win
got
team
all
anymore.
these
Let's
quarterbacks.
let's
You've got all
it's
these
week
quarterbacks
3.
that are
Let's
gonna
pump
get
the
front
brakes
loaded.
on the guys that are coming out next.
Yeah, let's
What
focus
do
on
you-
the fact that we have some young guys that played decent yesterday, and we'll see what happens with the secondary. I'm excited that
And
they brought in.
even with the quarterbacks, that kid Chase Young is a top 3 or 4 pick.
Yeah, I'm
he's going
sorry.
off the board. He's going off the board early.
Yeah,
So you
I
better
agree.
be in the top 5, or you better have the bullets and play
Well,
the
I
trade into
think
the
we
top
still
5
will
to get.
be. Now
Well, we
that
have two.
Saquon's out.
Remember, we have 2 third-round picks next year, so it wouldn't be hard for him to trade up because they got the compensatory pick from Collins, and I think they have an extra 5th, right?
They could do so. Let me ask you guys something, because I'm like 70-30 against it, but his talent is off the fucking charts, man. Would you be willing to put a package together for Ramsey right now?
His
For
attitude
Ramsey?
scares me.
Oh
You're
no!
gonna
I
have
mean,
the money. You're gonna have the money to pay him.
You don't
You're
see
gonna
him
have
as a
plenty
culture,
of money.
not a culture fit.
I do. That's why I'm 70-30 against it. But his
Yeah.
talent is so good, and
he's that
it's
guy
such
that
a
throws-
position of need.
Yeah.
It's
I
such
think-
a position of need for them. He's such an. Let me ask you this.
Maybe you send Jenkins and picks.
Let me ask you this: Would you send Jenkins a second next year and a first in 2020 for Ramsey?
no,
Nah,
I
'cause
would.
you need that first.
I
That
would be
first
sending a
too high.
first.
wait,
for a second,
Yeah,
we
just
see,
have
have one
to
pick
first.
on
You're not
quarterback.
getting him.
Here's the issue
You
with
have to
Ramsey.
send. You have to send at least. You got to send a first. You're not
I
getting
agree,
him.
but we just sent
We're
4
talking
picks on
rebuild a week
cornerbacks.
ago.
You know what I mean?
Well,
They
he is
can't.
part of the rebuild.
I agree, but to
He
send a
would be part
premium
of the
pick.
rebuild. You're
But would you
talking
pick-
about the best lockdown corner in the game that you're adding to a position of need, and
But
you're
he's-
talking about a team that's going to have. He just said probably $100 million in
It'll
cap
be
space.
closer to 80 next year.
It's 97. If we let Ogletree and Jenkins go, it's
It's going
97.
to be closer to $100 million next year.
Yeah,
You
by
know,
the time
you
everything's
start
all
to
said and
think
done.
I
they're
personally,
gonna-
guys,
they're gonna
guys, I
have-
think
that's a
spent the money.
position. That is a position that you pay.
But think
top
about it from this
dollar for.
perspective. You just drafted DeAndre Baker and Julian Love high. You
Yeah.
expect
They're
both
on.
of them to.
They're on
You
rookie
expect both.
contracts though.
No, I know. No. Just listen for one
Cost
sec.
you
I
nothing
agree.
to do with the round pick. Baker's
But it's
cost
not-
you a little something. but you have a 5th-year option on Baker because you traded up to take him in the first round. So you don't have to worry about paying Baker.
Well, I'm
for
not talking
5
about
years.
financially. I'm talking about that premium pick you're talking about in 2020. That's got to be a pass rusher because they have the secondary now. They're going to have a year to learn the system.
Hold on. If I have Jordan Ramsey, if I have Jalen Ramsey,
Mm-hmm.
and I have an extra $80 million, plus I'm not giving up my first round pick next year, and I have 2 third-rounders, as the gentleman said earlier. What I'm trading, hopefully, if things go right and my quarterback's right, is a late first-round pick in 2021.
You think this team can win 10 games with Jalen Ramsey? Really?
I think next year, not this year right now.
So what's that pick
What
going
I
to be in
said was,
2020?
I
that you're
said give
trading?
them Jenkins a second-round pick this year and a first-round pick in 2021.
I got it. You said 2020. That's why I was confused. Okay.
20
I said the second-round pick would be in 2020.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
first-round pick would be in 2021. So they're still getting their first. They're
Yeah.
getting a corner to replace Ramsey.
Right.
And they're probably getting a top 36 to 37, maybe a top 40 pick, definitely.
But think about the reason Ramsey wants to leave. He wants to win. He's not going to want to come to the Giants. He's going to look
Ramsey
at
wants
the
to
team.
get paid.
I agree,
Ramsey
but he
wants to
also
get
wants to
paid.
win. He's
Ramsey
one of
wants
those
to get paid.
guys.
There's a
Yeah,
chance-
James,
there's
it
a-
sounds
you can
like
make
you're
an
trying to
argument that
convince
if you bring
yourself,
him here
though.
and get paid, you bring him here and get paid, he'll be fine if you're going to add to this defense next year.
But what if he does?
Ramsey
What
wants
if
to
he
get
comes
paid.
in and he's
That
got an
team right
attitude
now
4
with
weeks in?
Minshew can compete in the AFC. That's
See,
a team
here-
that could win. He's sitting out this week because he has the flu. He wants to get paid.
I
Here's
don't
the
know.
thing.
I get nervous.
I don't know.
going to die and he has an attitude.
I'm not sold on it,
not
but his
confident
talent
in that
is
package.
so. Oh,
It sounds like you're trying to convince James. It sounds like you're trying to convince yourself to do
I
it.
am because his talent is that good, and it's such a position that you just. It's a difference maker. It changes the way you can play defense. It completely takes away one side of the field. And
I'm
he's a
honestly
guy.
not even sure
He's
Jacksonville
one of these
accepts
also
that
that's
trade.
very valuable because he's not afraid to travel with the receiver, right? He's not a guy like Norman that you put on one side of the field and then you can take Julio Jones and swing him all over the way to just create matchups. No, Ramsey goes, I'm going to take your best guy and I'm going to follow him all over the field. That's extremely valuable. I mean, you don't find that throughout the league.
That's why the Jets were good for so long.
Here's another comment of a guy. We're potentially looking at Haskins versus Jones next week.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be fun.
Who would you guys rather have right now?
Jones.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Who knows? I mean, who knows?
I'd rather
knows?
Jones. Haskins can't beat out Case Keenum. That's where I'm at.
Oh, no. God almighty. Jesus Christ.
What? Say it.
Nothing
Go
to
ahead.
do with that.
He hasn't beat him up.
He might be able to beat out
Case
Case
problem with
Keenum, but
Washington
they're
right now.
keeping
Case
Case
Keenum's completing
Keenum.
69% of his passes. He's thrown 5 touchdowns and no picks. So right now,
But if Haskins was so ready,
he's not the issue. Eli was the issue with this team. It was obvious. Case Keenum, if you're watching Washington, is not the issue. That team has a lot of problems right now, and they're taking their time with Haskins, like was the plan for us to do. But Case Keenum isn't their issue right now. So
5
so
touchdowns,
why?
no picks, James?
I believe so. I don't believe.
Shout me out on Wednesday after tonight, all right? Let me know.
All right,
the
well,
stat
let's
after tonight.
see. Let's see. I mean, he's played 2 pretty good teams. What did he play? Philly and Dallas. Those are two pretty good.
Philly's
defenses.
only got a front 7. You just throw the ball on a 5-yard check
still,
down.
though. I
Nice.
mean, well, they only have
This
a
is my
front
thing, though.
7.
So all of a sudden, Case
I'd
Keenum's an
pay
all-star
right now to
quarterback?
have a front 4. Or front
Yes,
3.
absolutely.
I mean, so,
I'd play to have
like
two.
those are 2 pretty good defenses that he played against, and he's completed 69% of his passes, and he has 5
Nice.
touchdowns and no interceptions. I mean, say what you want, and if you look around Washington, they have no running game. They have the worst running game in the league. They have a bad offensive line, and their best receiver is their 3rd-round pick, Terry McLaurin. Jordan
agree
Reed
with
is
that.
out, so they have old man Vernon Davis. Jewess is out, so they have old man Adrian Peterson. So what is right now, if you're the Redskins, much to a lot of the argument that I heard for not to play Davis Webb and Kyle Lauletta, why would you want to put this guy in with this right now behind this at 2 games into the season?
So you don't think we're going to see him on
I would hope that I don't want to. I'm not rooting for injury or anything like that. I would hope that Keenum struggles tonight and they get to the point where they're 0-3 and they say, you know what, might as well.
It's time.
Yeah, might as well. That's what I would hope. But I don't think it has anything to do with Keenum's play. I think at that point you realize you're 0-3 and you say, you know what, long-term investment.
Yeah, almost a quarter of the season is gone. Let me
Yeah, long-term investment.
let's end on this
And
note.
also, here's another thing, and I know we're Giant fans, but here's another thing, is if you were going to pick a defense for your rookie quarterback to start against, right now, there's not too many that you would choose other than the New York Giants.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Well, here, let's end on this. Besides Daniel Jones, what was your biggest takeaway in a positive from yesterday's game? I think I got
Dexter
mine.
Lawrence isn't a two down run stuffer.
Baker can cover people.
Mm-hmm. James, what do you got? What impressed you besides?
Dead, and nobody knows it.
I think Slayton played well yesterday too.
Yeah, he did. He had that big catch. He had multiple big catches, actually.
Yeah. A few good blocks.
Here's the thing that should resonate with every Giants fan, is that at one point, that kid went into the huddle. He looked his guys in the eyes, and he said, "Let's fucking score here." And that resonated. And for the last couple of years, we've been blaming this and we've been blaming that. And God love Eli, greatest quarterback the Giants ever seen. Let's say it again, right?
Yep.
Sometimes your team needs that. And that was something that you got to remember. Eli had a lot of success when there were a lot of other vocal leaders in the locker room. And sometimes when your team is young and you don't have those vocal leaders in the locker room, those veterans that you can rely on for that stuff, it has to be your quarterback, right? And he went in and he fucking looked those veterans in the eye yesterday and he said, "Let's put some points on the fucking board, gentlemen." And it resonated, and it resonated throughout the team. And I don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the year, okay? I have no clue how the rest of this is going to turn out. But for one day, we got a glimpse of what could be, and we should be ecstatic that, for the first time in years, there's some hope around here for the future.
Tastes good.
JP, what do you want to end on? Have any final thoughts? I'll go around the room. Probably had to jump out. What, Nikki? What do you got? Have any final thoughts?
I can't. I hate ending on a negative note, but we got to protect this kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
11 times a week. I know what Ned's saying. He got beat up at Duke. 11 times a week ain't gonna cut it, man. He's gonna get fucking banged up if it's 11 times a week.
Oh,
Yeah.
that wasn't me who said that.
Someone said it.
Oh no, it was Don. I think. My bad.
Yeah, he had to jump out. Overall, I think, man, it was good to get a win. It felt good. He not only got the win, he looked really impressive getting it, though.
Hey, man, that's my thing, is that we should just be fucking ecstatic that it looks like we got a player here. And there's going to be some ups and downs. It's not going to be as pretty as it was at times yesterday. There's going to be some rough spots, but it looks like he gets it. It looks like he's tough. And that's what you want to see from a rookie. I'm homesick today. I'm homesick today. I feel sick as a fucking dog, and I have never felt so good being so sick. So, like, enjoy this, Giant fans. It's been a long 2 years. Enjoy this day. We deserve it. Every one of us, no matter what your takes were, we deserve it. And hopefully it's the start of something special for this kid.
I will end on a optimistic view. If this kid is as good as we saw yesterday, consistently, we've got ourselves our quarterback, and we've got ourselves a bunch of the skill positions wrapped up decently well, and we'll presumably have a high. Let's be honest, it's going to be in the top half. Draft pick. That.
Ned, here's the hope right now, right? Yeah, the defense is the problem, right?
And the money to rebuild.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Right now, as Giant fans, after seeing what we did yesterday, like my mindset has totally fucking switched. right? Because I know that for the first time that it's not about the falsity of this roster and trying to sell yourself that they're good enough to win a Super Bowl. Right now, I'm excited about the future, and whatever comes of this is a positive, right? So here's what the take has to be right now with the defense. Yeah, they're struggling. Okay, yeah, maybe they were built under a fucking facade of this team being able to compete right now. But here's what we have to look for week to week from if you're a Giant fan. Is Baker getting better? Is Carter getting better? Where's BJ Hill? Is Lawrence getting better? Are these young kids coming along? Who's here for the long haul and who has to ship the fuck out because we need to replace them because we need some players in their position? So I get that the defense is struggling right now, but switch your mindset from having to just win football games to saying who's flashing. Like enjoy the development of the players, because I went back last night and I watched the game, and Carter's motor on some plays I got really fired up about, and BJ Hill's motor on some plays I got really fired up about, and seeing Baker in coverage I got really fired up about in the second half. The way he played Godwin, who is God was a very underrated receiver. That kid could play. And he played him rough. He played him well. So yeah, right. So I mean, there's guys flashing, and enjoy the progress of these kids getting better, and stop just. Like I've been negative for 2 years. It's time to start hoping. I've been negative because they wouldn't turn the page. They neglected to say, okay, we got to move towards the future. Yesterday was the start. Start looking at this team in another fucking way. Turn your mindset. It's not about winning football games now. It's about getting better. And what we want to see now is where's Jones from week 3 to week 7? Where is he? And where's these young defensive players from week 8 to week 12? And then where are they from week 13 to week 17 to close out the season? That's the mindset to have. Enjoy it, because yesterday was the first fun we've had in a long fucking time.
We broke 30 points.
My general point was that we've got ourselves in a good position when it comes to rebuilding, to the point where, like, this defense, yeah, it's definitely the issue, but even as it gets better, any holes we need to patch, we can go through the draft and free agency to hopefully patch up most of them, and then I think you're looking at a pretty solid squad.
I just want to let's just get back to being competitive, and the players will let themselves be known, and the ones that aren't, they're gone. That's basically it.
Marco, yeah. I'd love losing 35-32, you know what I mean? Giving up only like 89 yards on the ground because we stuff everything up the middle. I would love that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing that for the next 4 weeks. Offense puts up 32 with really nobody at wide receiver. Only giving up 89 yards on the ground, you know what I mean? We know our secondary suspect Baker can't do it all. That would be a positive, like James is saying, that would be a positive note. If we finish the season like that, I mean, probably not 89 yards, but something around there. If we finish the season like that, that's all positive for our young squad.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, like watching Jenkins yesterday was completely frustrating because it's affecting the defense as a unit. But I'm not looking at this defense as a unit anymore, because I know it's not the finished product, and I know it's not good enough to get me where I want to fucking go.
Yeah, all those pieces are going to be changed, sure.
Yeah, so what I'm looking at is, okay, who are the guys that are going to be part of the solution, right? And if those guys are flashing and getting better from year 1 to year 2, from year 2 to year 3, then you start saying, okay, well, where can I add pieces? That's why when I look at the defense and I say to myself, okay, like I don't like Jalen Ramsey as a person, but my God, if I was to replace Janoris Jenkins with Jalen Ramsey in a position that's worth investing the money in, what does that do for this unit? Right? How does this upgrade the talent around Jalen Ramsey? Because I
James,
saw the weak spot weak spot yesterday was obviously Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah, here's a trade scenario. Here's a trade scenario from Jay Ramos. Ready? Would you give up Baker in a second 2020 or 2021 for Ramsey?
I wouldn't give up Baker. No,
you would keep him.
I liked Baker coming out. You traded up to get him on the 5th-year option.
Mm-hmm.
He's at a position that's very valuable, so he's cheap. It's a cheap contract. So
Keep him.
If Baker turns into what you think he can get, if what you think he could be, if why you moved up to draft him, then you're looking at having him for the first 4 years of his contract before you have to renegotiate it and really pay him some money.
Yeah.
Where you can have a that's why, to me,
I agree.
If you're going to do it and invest in Ramsey for 4 to 5 years, having Baker on the roster is okay, because you have your quarterback and you have your corner, two positions that usually you're going to pay a lot of money for on rookie deals. If you're going to go in on a guy like Ramsey, now's the time to do it. So that's the alluring part of that. But I wouldn't give up Baker to get there. I have high hopes for Baker.
Yeah,
And
me
he's
too.
cheap right now. Yeah,
Marco, our host, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What is Janoris Jenkins worth in linebacker land?
In linebacker land.
Yep. If you were walking around in linebacker land looking for a linebacker to pluck for a team and you only had Janoris Jenkins in your pocket, who would you be able to get?
Jeez, that's a good question.
My God, I don't even know.
Because, I mean, I'm looking at the free agents right now. Nick Perry. Wilkerson, maybe he could play some D-end. I don't know why we haven't tried to jump on him. Does anybody know why? Is he still fucked up from the leg?
I don't know.
Who knows? Probably.
Dion
if
Jordan.
guys,
I mean, these guys are
if those
bad.
guys are out there, they're out
Von
there.
Miller's going to be a
for a
free
reason.
agent.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. We were just talking about that last week. They're out there because they suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, or they're either hurt, banged up, they suck. They're just it's just if they could play, somebody would have them on the roster.
All right, everyone.
I'm trying to look around the league and trying to figure out.
All right, James, I'm going to cut you off because I have to run. I am going to edit out the beginning where the audio was shitty, so it'll look nice and pretty at the end of it. And let's see. I think that's about it.
Gentlemen, a pleasure as always. James, Marco, love you guys, man.
All right, Nikki.
My highlight of my Monday.
Ned, Captain, Nikki, I'll talk to you all later. Thanks a lot, bros.
Ned, take it easy.
See ya.